Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net, and today we're looking at NZXT's Sentry 3 fan controller and temperature reader. So the Sentry 3 is a follow-up to, unsurprisingly, the Sentry 2, both of which are 5¼ external drive bay accessories, so they install into external drive bays. You would not be able to use this on the H440 case for that reason, but it will fit on basically any other case on the market. The Sentry 3 is focused on giving a readout of your fan speed. It can show 5 channels with fans, and it can also link fans to one another for controlling them in terms of the speed. Finally, it's got a temperature reader, just one installed by default, though there are options to install more. And you can hook that temperature reader up to different parts of your case if you want the fan to be controlled by temperature and thresholds rather than manually by you. Just a use case example here, we've got 5 fan channels on the Sentry 3, which means we can hook up 5 different fans, or we can daisy chain fans to single channels. So to give you an example, let's say we have a case that's got a 200mm fan, a 120mm fan, and 2 140mm fans. So the problem here is if we're using stock fans, just for sake of example, the 120 and 140mm fans are going to be significantly louder than the 200+mm fans, and that's just a matter of size and speed of rotation. So let's say that we want to keep the 200mm fan at max speed because it's the quietest anyway, so who cares, but drop the speed of the 120 and 140s. We can actually hook all of those fans up to different channels, and then we can even link the 2 140mm fans together in a single channel, so when we drop the speed of them, it will impact both fans simultaneously and decrease the RPM, which decreases the noise levels in the case, hopefully to match your slower, quieter fans. And all of this so far is handled through touch input, so you can actually link 2 channels together. Let's say you have front fans and rear fans on your case, so you can link the front and rear channels together, and then when you adjust the dial there, the dial is actually touch input, when you adjust that to 100% or 40% or anything in between, it'll change all fans in the front and rear configurations. So that's kind of an example of how this device works. It displays temperatures in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Unfortunately, this is done using a temperature probe. The problem with temperature probes is they can only read external temperatures, generally of things like the heatsink. You can't actually read anything useful like T-junction on the CPU, obviously, because that is handled at a semiconductor level on the die. And you can't even read TKs because it would need to be touching the inside of the integrated heat spreader to read TKs. So really what you're getting is a much cooler temperature than what is actually going on under the hood, so to speak, and that's because we're reading something after it's already been pushed through the IHS or even into the CPU cooler. Since the Sentry 3 has launched, NZXT has announced and put out their CAM software, which is a temperature monitor controlled at the software level. It shows T-junction, it shows your GPU temperatures, it shows your system specs. It's pretty cool. It even integrates with the new Grid Plus that I wrote about. So if NZXT can figure out a way to link their future Sentry, perhaps the Sentry 4, to CAM and use the T-junction CPU temperatures, which is the actual temperature of the die, not the temperature of the heat spreader, which is kind of useless. If they can integrate those and make it so that the Sentry acts on the CAM's readings, I think they would have a seriously good product that I would actually want on a functional level, not just an aesthetic level for my system. That said, the Sentry 3 is still very good. It works pretty well. The touchscreen is durable. It responds to input very well. It is a bit picky on the viewing angles. The colors look good. The control panel itself functions well and looks good. It looks very sci-fi and works well on cases in that regard. If you're looking for a cool way to soup up your system after you've already built it, this is something I would highly recommend. Unlike the Sentry 2, this one has very few fan cables, and they're all modular, so you can unplug any cables or channel cables that you're not using, and that just means less clutter in your case. So good news all around. That's what we think about the Sentry 3. I worked with Michael Mann on this. He wrote the full review. Hit that link in the description below if you'd like the review and some photos, and I will see you all next time. Peace.